The mic didn't turn on there. I hope it caught that. I thought I had turned it on, but okay, there we go. Well, hopefully it caught it. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, so this podcast, y'all, in case you're new to our podcast, I'm Errol. This is Art with Errol. We do art and gaming, and let's just do a quick reflection of last week. Last week we were sick. The last 2 weeks I've been sick. I've slowly been coming out of it. I'm still having like a slight cough, and I'm gonna try to work through this for the podcast today. But last week was pretty good. We got in some game streams. We got in a GG art emoji we made on Friday for our art video, and we did the podcast. Even though it was a rough go, we did a podcast. So overall, I would say last week was a success, even though I was hurting most of the week, and I'm still not 100%. And that's a real challenge when you're trying to be a content creator and make content. Getting sick or ill or having something going on like that, it can be a struggle. So this week I kind of wanted to dive into or talk about a little bit how are we holding up. The year's about to wrap up, man. Can y'all believe that it's the end of September, man? We're rolling into October. We're about to roll into October, and man, it just seems like the year goes by fast, man. It's only a couple months left, so the year is going to be wrapping up, and mental check-ins are always a good thing, for us to do. Think about, reflect. We should always take time to reflect. Think about things. Kind of see where you're going, and hopefully find ways to improve. Right. Ultimately, that's the goal, is to keep improving or keep trying to improve. So, and the wins that we've had, they've all been small, this year so far, but we're making good progress on our gaming channel. Art channel, I'm not really doing enough, just a matter of time, having time to do more content on that channel. And the podcast, it's not really growing like I would like it to do, but, we're going to keep pushing through, and hopefully, we gain some steam at some point. This is a good outlet for me to vent and talk about things, so getting things off my mind like this, how our channels are going and the progress we're making, and, just kind of thinking about what's going on, so that's why I do the podcast. And, the gaming channel, I feel like it's come a long ways. We're at 170 subscribers now. I wish there were more active folks, I think we tend to get on YouTube like folks that, they subscribe, but then they don't come back, or whatever they liked about it. Maybe it was lost somewhere. I don't know. It's the retention issue that mostly is where I think we're struggling on the channel. It's getting people to come back and view the content again. Because people are subscribing, we are getting likes, we are getting some comments here and there. So we're making progress. We're just not hitting the mark where we want to be, and it's fine. It's all part of a process, I believe, I just would like to, figure out some of these issues and, make the content better, so we can gain that following and, build our community like we've been trying to do. So end of the year energy, I would like to have good positive vibes going into the end of the year. I think my goal, or my silent goal, was to get above 200 subscribers. We're not there yet, but we got a couple months. Maybe we'll get a few more. We may hit 200. I don't know. You never know. That's one of the things we just have to keep plugging away and working on and pushing, to make better content and gain those followers, right? Yeah, it's the end of the year, and you can always drain out, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't want to drain out. I don't want to be like feeling tired or rushed or just not having the energy to carry on, right? Because I swear I failed before. Like I said this in a podcast before. It's like, a lot of my failures have been, not being consistent with my content or making enough content. So I've been trying to at least stick to the amount that I said I would do, and I've done pretty well this year. I've done pretty well. Did I always hit the mark? No, I haven't always hit the mark, but I've been pretty consistent. Excuse me, y'all. I'm trying to hold the cough in and not cough, but I'm just gonna have to let it out at some point. But we definitely have made a lot of progress from the previous years. And I think the more I am consistent, the better I'm getting at making the content. The better I'm getting at speaking, the better I'm getting at putting the videos together that I want to make, or the shorts, because I mostly make shorts, right? Just to be honest, my gaming channel, I mostly make shorts. I need to make more long form videos, like 5 to 10 minutes, but just the time alone to do that has always been a struggle with me. And I have to get to the point where I can say I'm going to try to do it during the game streams. But I just haven't figured out how I want to do that, or how I want to integrate that. So we'll get there at some point. Hopefully next year I'll be pushing out shorts and a couple long-term videos per week. That would be great. If I can get to that point, I think that will push the channel up to the next level. But only time will tell, and we'll have to experiment and try that out. So balancing of our stress and gratitude. Balancing our stress with gratitude. I am grateful that I'm able to make content, even though, like I said, I've been sick these last few weeks, been struggling through that, but not everybody is able to even make content, right? They don't even have no time in a day. So, to be able to squeeze out like 2 hours here and there, or an hour here and there, or whatever time to make the video and post videos and do all that stuff, share it on X and all that. It's a challenge for a lot of folks. So, if you're struggling with that, feel free to comment. I know I struggle. So I try my best, but I do struggle. How are we holding up mentally? I think mentally I'm in a good spot, man. I mean, I'm relaxed. I'm chill. I am retired. I do work a job, but I am retired from the Navy. So I'm not really worried about stuff, like that. So my stress level is really low. So mentally, I would say I'm good. Physically, I could be better. Now that's a department that I always want to tweak and work, and try to get, better in shape. I just haven't pushed myself in that department. I need to push myself there. I need to push myself to make more content. Emotionally, I'd say I'm good there too. Nothing seems out of whack, to me. But, I think we're holding up pretty well. At the end of the day, I think I'm holding up pretty well. But people that watch me, you can tell me what you think. So let's just move on. Looking ahead without pressure, I would like to finish the year strong without burnout, and that's the plan. Cause I don't feel burnt out. I would also like to hit the 200 mark. So if we can at least get to 200 subscribers, that would be wonderful. If we can get more participation, that would also be wonderful. So I just got to figure that out, We're going to have a little rest coming up, holiday time, I am going to be taking some time off. So that's the thing with it coming to holiday season. There's always that periods where, you take leave, go be with family for Christmas and New Year's and, the Thanksgiving and doing all that stuff. So there will be time that I'm not really making content, and that will make it harder to, keep progressing. So I'm have to the days that I can make it just really hit the mark, I think. Preparing for next year. I think the goal was to get the camera that, I can make higher level quality art videos and to actually be making, much higher quality art videos. So that'll be great. And then having the fancy camera will also be good for making videos as well. So I got some goals for next year, and I think the main thing is if we can maintain our consistency level and add in a couple extra things, simply adding in maybe making 1 or 2 5 to 10 minute videos per week instead of the 3-minute shorts every day. Well, I still want to have the 3-minute shorts. That would be nice. So doing 3-minute shorts and adding in maybe 1 or 2 longer form videos, 5 to 10 minutes or something like that. Along with, doing a much grander art video, I think that's the goal and the plan for next year. So finishing out this year, how we're going to do that, I think we're going to keep going with what we've been doing, and I'm going to start back sketching again because we done made our emotes. We got at least 5 good emotes for tier 1 on Twitch. Anyone that wants to prime sub, please don't hesitate to drop your boy, a prime sub. That would be great. Our game streaming days are still going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday's our podcasting day, and Friday is still our art day. That will be the art posting day, because next year I'll probably be working on some artwork throughout the week and then end Friday with the long form video for it. That's the goal for next year. So I just got to get the camera so we can have that higher quality video footage. I guess the thing is how are you guys holding up? You're hearing all this about me. I would like to hear from you. So please, if you want to participate, that's what the comment chat box or comment box is for. tell me how's it going with your content creation. How are you guys holding up? How you feeling? Mentally, emotionally, physically. How are you holding up? It's been a draining year. For a lot of folks. If you think about all the things that's been going on, in life, the cost of living, cost of everything, right? Prices going up on electronics and games and food and all that stuff, right? That weighs on people too, So, making content and trying to become a content creator and, pushing yourself to do these things outside of your work and family life is always a challenge. So, there's a lot of factors, but if you're not holding up mentally, physically, or emotionally, it's always important to take a break, and the holiday season is a great time for taking breaks, and I definitely know for Christmas and New Year's I'll be taking a break, but I'll probably still do like little shorts or something like that, but it won't be as intense, and it probably won't have gaming content during those periods where I'm, taking the time off. Excuse me, y'all. My throat's still jacked up, like I said. I've been fighting with this. I don't know if it's just a cold. I think it's also allergies. So I think it's mostly because, seasonal allergies that's going on. I think ultimately that's what I'm dealing with. It's a lot of allergy issues. My eyes feel, it's not itchy, but dry and they feel puffy. I don't know if they look puffy, but they feel puffy. I don't know. And it's just been like a clear drainage, and that, dripping on your throat, that just makes you cough, man. It's rough. Whatever kind of allergen is in the air, it's really affecting me. So, just to be reassuring everybody, I am feeling better. I'm not 100%. The goal for this week is to continue on. We're going to get some game streams in. I'm looking at maybe playing some more PUBG and maybe some Call of Duty this week. I haven't played Fortnite in a while. I just haven't feel like playing it. Maybe we'll play some more of the finals. I like the finals. I don't know. We're gonna mix it up. We're gonna do a mixed bag of stuff, man. Until next Friday, or the following week, right? Because I'll come back that next week when Battlefield 6 drops, because we'll be hitting that pretty hard. I think that's gonna be my main game for a while. Up into the holiday season, will be probably Battlefield 6 and maybe bouncing between that and Call of Duty Black Ops 7, right? So, I mean, I know everybody is like, oh, this is a killer of COD, but no, I'm going to be playing both. Just to let y'all know. I'll probably be bouncing back and forth between the two. But I'll be maining Battlefield most of the time, so... But we'll still get a little Call of Duty in here and there. So, as far as art content, we got to come up with something to sketch this week. I haven't thought about what I wanted to sketch, and I was trying to look at if there was any kids movies or any cartoon characters or something, or if we want to do something anime this week. I don't know. So any ideas you guys want to throw at me, please do so. Don't be afraid to drop that in the comments as well on my art videos or on the podcast video. If not, like always, I'll come up with something. I'll figure something out. We're going into the spooky season, right? It's Halloween season coming up, so next month we could do some more Halloween themed stuff. Maybe, I don't know. We can definitely gear the artwork towards that. Maybe we'll look at some old school horror spooky stuff that we can draw, like maybe Pumpkinhead or something like that, or taking it back, doing Pinhead or drawing Pinhead or something. I don't know. We can come up with some ideas, y'all, for this Friday and into the next few weeks. We'll come up with some ideas for drawing or sketching in a sketchbook. That would be great. But yeah, this is good, man. Mental check-in with yourself, and don't be afraid to post it, y'all. Do a little post on X if you want to, like, tweet it at me, or however you do that. You know what I mean? Or if you want to put it on the actual podcast, that'd be cool too. Just a little reflection of how everybody's holding up through this year. I also want to thank you guys for listening. For those who actually hang out and listen to my podcast, I appreciate you. We're going to keep moving forward with this. I'm going to keep trying to get better, keep trying to, become a better content creator each time. So we're going to keep pushing forward, y'all. We ain't going to let this cold / allergy issue keep us down forever. We're gonna come out of it, as we're slowly coming out of it now. We're gonna start pushing harder into next year, and I want to push harder. I want to try to improve. I try to think about these things like, how can I improve? How can I get better? And do I always hit the mark? No, I don't always hit the mark. But the fact that I think about it and I'm trying, that counts to me, and that's a win in my book. It's as long as I don't give up, I don't want to give up. I want to keep trying until I figure it out, and like sometimes that may take 1,000 times, for some people. Not everybody gets things right away. Some people are great public speakers. Some people can, really direct the flow of conversation. They're great speakers, and that's something I struggle with, that I have to work on all the time. So like, I'm not a great speaker, but I'm trying, y'all. I'm learning as I go, and I'm trying. Putting thoughts together and conveying it in a way that people, are willing to listen to you is, that's not easy. A lot of people, like, if you look at like how comics get up and they can tell jokes, and they practice that all the time. They work out those things all the time. They get on stages and they keep working it out until they get to where they can do that. Same thing as people that speak publicly and like giving speeches and all that stuff. They practice it a lot. So, my form of practice is really just doing it. I'm just diving in. So, taking the chance, taking the stage, and just giving it what I got and seeing what we come up with. Yeah, I mean, for the podcast, like, I've had a couple short ones the last couple weeks, just mainly because, excuse me, I haven't been feeling 100%, and the topics have been a little bit weaker, but maybe next week we'll have a stronger topic. I just wanted to do kind of a mental check-in. I am happy with the progress though, especially with the gaming channel, because, we were at very low numbers and now we're at 170, even though everybody's not actively coming back. And, it would be nice to get at least half of the subscribers to come back and comment or say something or like the video and all that. But it's not the case. And I don't know if it's a bot thing, if you're getting bots in there. I'm sure there are some of those are bots, because, a lot of for the online stuff, there's bots, but then there's real people as well mixed in there. So it's weird, man, because, you don't see the return of the folks. So that's the scary part. You don't know if it's real, if they're real, or if they just forgot about your channel. They subscribed and they just they're not getting the notifications or something. I don't know. I know Facebook was terrible about the notification thing. So I don't really know. All I know is I'm trying to push it as much as I can, and I'm steadily coming out with something for the gaming channel. So we have been seeing growth. It's just been slow, and I would like to see more retention in the videos. That's something I'm still trying to figure out, the right formula for the way I speak and the way I convey stuff. So, trying different things, mixing it up, and, I'm trying to figure out the right path on how I want to do it, but we're slowly getting there. It's a slow process for me, I guess. Other than that, y'all, it's been real. We're going to get off of here. Like I said, one final thank you to everybody that hung in tight to the end of the podcast, like listening to me ramble, talk about this crazy adventure I'm on, I still think it's exciting. I think it's fun, so that's why I do it, if we ever do make it to the point where, we have a large following and people are actually participating and, actually bringing conversation to the thing, it'll be great, it'll be great. And then we'll build our community, So, yeah, that's our final thank you. And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, I guess just follow it. I think that's all you can do, right? Follow the podcast, and you can also check us out on YouTube, because that's where our art channel is. That's where our gaming channel is, and we also have a Twitch gaming channel. So we'll wrap this up, and next week I'll try to have a different topic to talk about some stuff. So till next time, you know what to do. I'm out of here, y'all.